I'm not a doctor. I saw the bleeding, but I don't know exactly what it is. I didn't spoke.
Because of 6 months.
That's what he said. The
Because of
commission.
6 months. Yeah, because a 6 month suspension for a nosebleed, I'm assuming it has to be fractured for a 6 month. I mean,
I imagine
6 months.
yes.
6 months for a suspension for a nosebleed is not normal unless there's a fracture. I'm assuming.
According to Samson Lewowitz, Fedora will be sidelined for at least November with a broken nose. So there will not be a rematch with Tim Tszyu, which is well deserved. There will be no Terence Crawford fight. And there will be no Errol Spence fight at least till November or December. Because that's what I think they're doing. I think Fedora's next fight will be with Errol Spence at the end of the year. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how long it would take Fedora to recover from the broken nose. And Samson Lewowitz says he's going to talk to the WBO president, Paco, to see if he can let Fedora keep the WBO belt until he recovers, which means Crawford will be out of the ring for at least 18 months if it goes down like that. Maybe longer, because I think Fedora wants to do the rematch with Tszyu first, or Spence. I think Samson Lewitz's pecking order is he wants Tszyu, then Spence, then Crawford. So if we're going by Samson Lewowitz rules, the PBC rules, they want Crawford out the ring for 2 years. And Crawford's the WBO mandatory. So what I'm thinking is WBO got an important decision to make. And I think what they should do is strip Fedora. And Crawford and the number one guy in the WBO should fight for the title. If the number one guy doesn't want to fight for it, the next guy fights for it, which is, I think, is Lubin. Or he can talk to Turki Al-Sheikh and see if he get that fight with Madrimov. First, it was the Errol Spence rematch that held Crawford down. Now, it's Fedora's broken nose. I'm convinced these guys don't want any smoke with Terence Crawford.
But for him, he needs a new voice that's gonna fucking really push him. Not a new voice that's gonna kiss his ass. That's gonna make him happy. That's gonna tell him yes to everything. No, he needs a voice where he's gonna, motherfucker, you need 2 more rounds, and you're gonna give me 2 more rounds. You know, he needs a voice where he's gonna be sparring guys that are gonna want to be fucking him up. He already has a great style. He was pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, man. So it's just little touches. You know, I would, honestly, it would be a challenge for me too. I wouldn't mind. It would be a good challenge for me.
I have a lot of respect for Robert Garcia. I think he's a great trainer. But is he good enough to get Errol Spence over the hump, beating Terence Bud Crawford? Robert Garcia seems like he's a big believer in Errol Spence's skills. He's a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter, according to Robert Garcia. It makes me believe that he think he could train Errol Spence to a victory over Terence Crawford. My opinion is this. Like I said, Robert Garcia is a good trainer. And he could give Errol Spence a lot of good advice. I just don't think anybody out there could train Errol Spence to beat Terence Crawford. He just doesn't have the skill set. He probably could train Errol Spence to look better in the rematch, which I don't think is going to be a rematch. But if it was a rematch, he probably could make Spence look better in the rematch. But I still think Crawford, at the end of the day, would take Spence out. And then when you look on the other side of the coin, would Errol Spence ever train with a trainer like Robert Garcia? I don't think so. You heard what Robert Garcia says. He's not going to kiss his butt, and he's going to bring sparring partners that are going to want to kill Errol Spence. Not these softies that Derek James bring in. And speaking of Derek James, I think Errol Spence will work it out with him, either go with him or go with Calvin Ford or Ronnie Shields. I just can't see Errol Spence training with a disciplinarian like Robert Garcia. Anyway, what do you think? If they got together, do you think Robert Garcia could get Errol Spence over the hump to beat a generational fighter like Terence Crawford? To me, Errol Spence has too many deficiencies. Bad feet, doesn't move his head. But that's just my opinion. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Jay Beasy, I'm gone.